Hey everybody, welcome back. So it is time for another administrative division video. And this episode is going to serve as a reference for the Vietnam episode. So fun little side note, yes, I actually did go there to research for the episode. And yes, while I was there, I was wearing the Geography Now t-shirt that you can get at geographynow.com amongst other merch. Oh, and who also came with me? It's Mini Barbs. He came along with me on some of those adventures. He enjoyed the sights. And if you would like to bring Mini Barbs with you on some of your travels, you can get one at figuremade.com. So here's the deal. When I do these administrative division videos, usually I go by the first degree division level, like states or provinces. However, here's the thing. Vietnam has 58 provinces and 5 municipalities, making up a total of 63 first level administrative units. I ain't gonna do all that. I talked to a lot of my Vietnamese subscribers and they said these provinces are more or less just kind of like areas recently established by the government for statistical data and local management. You could dive into each one, but it's not really necessary. So if you really want to understand Vietnam, you need to address the regions of the country. Most Vietnamese people will probably say more or less that this map of the 8 regions of Vietnam is a more accurate depiction of understanding Vietnam and its regional divisions in terms of things like culture, atmosphere, values, and so on. Before we jump into this though, as I mentioned before, I actually went to Vietnam to get footage for the episode, and here's the thing. I'm kind of like the person who makes excuses when I travel. I'm just like, oh, I don't have time to exercise or eat properly because I'm traveling. But thankfully, to help me from being a useless, flabby crack goblin, today's sponsor, Copilot, has been able to reach out and sponsor this video and help me with those problems. But what is Copilot, main Barbs? Thank you for asking, Mini Barbs. Copilot is fitness made easy, and it's not a joke. Like literally, they ranked the highest out of the best personal trainer apps of 2023 by Forbes. So it's on the radar and it's legit. It's a platform that gives you the ability to pair up with your own fitness coach. Like you can literally chat with them and see them like for real. And you can also switch coaches if you want. My coach is Isaiah. He's been awesome. I told him, look, dude, I'm going to Vietnam. I'm in a super cramped hotel room with my mom. If I'm going to do any workouts, I need you to send me something that can like work with that type of situation. And he actually like found a way to accommodate. Like I literally only had a few feet of space between the beds and the wall. And he sent me these like really cool mini clips that you can click on and it explains the movement that you should be doing. And it actually worked with the cramped up hotel room. Anyway, I think it's been very super helpful to me. And if you think it might be something that you'd like to check out, Copilot is offering a great discount to all my geograpeeps out there watching. Click on the link in the description of this video and get a free 14-day trial with your own expert personal trainer. Or here's a nice little snazzy QR code that you can kind of snap a pic of and go to the link to. You'll be helping out this channel by doing so. Either way, somehow go to Copilot. Thank you once again, Copilot. Glad you guys could sponsor this video. I really appreciate it. Cheers, guys. And so with that, let's jump into the regions of Vietnam. Shouts dideth we. Full disclosure, I'll try my best with all the Vietnamese pronunciations, but like it's really difficult because they have 6 tones and I only understand like 2 of them, and I know certain letters are pronounced differently in the north. It's difficult for me, okay? Give me a break. Anyway, with that, let's jump into it. Region number 1, the Northeast, aka Đông Bắc Bộ. Largest city is Bắc Giang. However, Cao Bang is probably the most famous because they have these iconic outcropping rice paddy views. The region is made up of 9 provinces, and this is a very mountainous area filled with captivating, sharp, pointy limestone and granite massifs and outcroppings. It is home to the famous UNESCO-inscribed Ha Long Bay. As a coastal hub, of course, fishing is a huge part of their industry, and there are lots of mineral mines here, most producing zinc and lead and iron, like in Cao Bang's mine, the largest one in the country. They also have that Eye of God mountain, which looks really cool. It's like one of their top tourist sites. So historically, this area was under multiple eras of Chinese rule, which left a noticeable Sinicized culture. Many of the people here actually have partial Chinese ancestry or even speak Chinese. This was also home to a significant part of the Bắc Viet, or the 100 Viet tribes that had in ancient times inhabited northern Vietnam and parts of what are now South China. They were famous for their body tattoos, short hair, and fine swords and navy prowess. Original Viets, yeah, that's an interesting topic you'll have to see in the Vietnam episode. Stay tuned. Extra bonus fact, this is the largest tea growing region in all of Vietnam, and it's where you can find the famous Ban Giak waterfalls, the most beautiful waterfalls in all of the country. The Northwest region, or Thai Pak, largest city, Son La. Now this region is made up of 6 provinces bordering Laos and China, and it is heavily populated by minorities, most notably the Thai and Hmong. The Thai peoples, not to be confused with Thai, although they are kind of related to the Thai, but that's another story. Anyway, at one point they even had their own confederacy called the Thap Song Chau Thai, or the 12 Thai cantons, and it lasted from the 18th century to the 20th until it was integrated into the state of Vietnam. So basically the people here are mountain and river people. This area is heavily forested. Many dams, including the largest one in the whole country, are built here. Many of the rivers here are fed by the tall mountains, including the tallest one in the country, Fansipan. This is also the site of the famous Battle of Dien Bien Phu, which was like the game changer that led to the independence against the French rule. And finally, one piece of cuisine that they are famous for is pia, which is like the digested grasses of cows, goats, or water buffalo that is recooked into a stew and is considered a high-class delicacy. Fun little extra bonus fact, this is where you can find the Dongtakpo caves. Also, this place has a lot of high mountains, therefore you can find snow in this region every so often. Higher elevation, snow, you get the point. Red River Delta, Dongbang Songhong. This region hosts two municipalities, Haiphong and the capital Hanoi, and it's also made up of 8 other provinces. It is the smallest region in area, but the highest in population and population density. About a fifth of the country's population is found here. Named after the second longest river of the country, the Red River, that literally flows into the delta, into the Gulf of Tonkin, hence the name Red River Delta. Now, many might say that this region is sort of like the cradle of the Vietnamese identity, as so many customs, legends, and traditions originated here. Most of the Viet dynasties had a capital in this region somewhere, somehow, and now today, obviously, the capital of the country is here. They have so many notable sites like the Mausoleum of Ho Chi Minh, the Imperial Citadel, the Temple of Literature, the pilgrimage of Huong Buddhist Temple. It's a lot. If you want deep-rooted tradition, you come to this region. Little extra bonus fact, this is the region where Vietnamese water puppetry was originated from. They did it in the rice paddies, and it became a thing. It's really cool. Check it out if you go there. And now we reach the north central coast, which I believe is Bắc Trung Bộ. Weird double tone. It always trips me up. The largest city is Thanh Hóa. However, the most notable city is probably Hue, which is set to become a new municipality in the future. This region is made up of 6 provinces, and it is the skinniest region as it has the narrowest point in the country at only about 30 miles or 42 kilometers wide. So to summarize, it was the beginning of South Vietnam. This is basically the area where the 17th parallel passed through just north of Hue, which was the separation between North and South Vietnam during conflict time. This place is known as the Land of Studies, or Dat Hao, as it has produced some of the most successful people in the country, including, you guessed it, Ho Chi Minh and his second in command, Li Duan. It is home to some of the most notable famous sites in the entire country, including 3 of the 7 UNESCO sites: Phong Nha Bang National Park, the complex of Hue monuments, and the citadel of the Ho dynasty. Basically, the last ruling monarchs in Vietnam, the Nguyen dynasty, had their capital in Hue and built a massive citadel with moats and a canal system. It was actually modeled after the Forbidden City in Beijing. They also have the cave system with the largest known passage in the world by volume here. And also, if you look geographically on the coast, there are tons of lagoons and inlets from the sea that go far inland. So the farmers here are able to farm fish much easier than other regions because they don't have to go out to sea to fish, they can just grow it. Unfortunately, this area is also subject to some of the harshest weather conditions and is regularly hit with typhoons and floods. Also, it was one of the most heavily bombed regions in terms of density during the war. Nonetheless, it's a beautiful place to check out, and also I was told the people here have probably the most difficult to understand accent. Extra bonus fact, Hue was once called Kandapupura, which was the former capital of the Cham Kingdoms. South Central Coast, or Dien Hai Nam Trung Bo, largest city Quy Nhon, but the most famous one is probably Da Nang, which is also a municipality. This region is made up of 8 provinces and soon a new municipality, Han Hoa or Nha Trang. This is basically the heart of the former Champa or Cham Kingdom. See, in ancient times, Vietnam, or at least the land where the Viets resided, didn't always look like what it does today, and for a long time, the southern part of what is now Vietnam was under various kingdoms, most notably the Champa, whom were a subgroup of Malayo-Polynesian peoples more closely related to the Malays, and it is considered the oldest attested Austronesian language on Earth. So who were these Cham people? Well, they were a more Hindu-based Indic people group, and today there are so many Champa ruins and sites that you can see here, including 2 of which that are UNESCO World Heritage Sites, My Son, which is a former religious center, and Hoi An, one of Champa's main port cities. Today, their descendants still exist, the Cham people. They still speak the language and they live mostly in Cambodia, with some in Vietnam. And some of them are actually still Hindu, which along with the Balinese makes them one of the only 2 surviving non-Indic indigenous Hindu peoples in the world. Now, this place was eventually taken over by the Vietnamese under the Nam Tien or the March South initiatives, in which many Vietnamese dynasties captured new lands, expanding southwards, increasing Vietnamese territory starting in the 11th century. So that's how this place became part of Vietnam. In any case, Da Nang is like known for being the best beach town in Vietnam, but like literally every coastal town says that they are, but Yeah. Extra little bonus fact, this is home to the Golden Hands Bridge. You've probably seen it in those pictures, yeah. Central Highlands, or Dai Nguyen, largest city, Buon Ma Thuot, but the most famous one is probably Dalat, which by the way has its own weird isolated microclimate. Like for some reason, it's actually a little bit cooler here than all the other parts of Vietnam. This region is made up of 5 provinces, and remember we just talked about the Cham peoples? Well, this is where most of the Vietnamese side remaining descendants live. This region is, in addition to the Northwest region, one of the 2 heavily minority populated regions in Vietnam, and specifically with the Ba Nar and Cham peoples. In certain villages, you can even see traditional architecture like Ba Nar Rong communal houses or the thatched Cham houses, and many of the towns here have Cham and Ba Nar names, not Vietnamese. And I was told that this is probably the most heated place politically because not everyone listens to the central government, and there have been some coordinated attacks on Vietnamese officers in the area in the past. Nonetheless, it's a beautiful place and known for being the coffee producing powerhouse of Vietnam. They also produce a lot of rubber, but it's mostly coffee that they're known for. Even one of the most popular coffee chains in Vietnam is called Highlands Coffee, which is good, I've been there. And in this region, they even produce weasel coffee, which is coffee fruit that has been digested by weasels and fermented the beans in their stomachs with a special enzyme, which when extracted, cleaned, and reprocessed makes the coffee taste so much better. Mocha John. Wait, this is mocha. I just wanted the regular one. Whatever, it's still good. Fun fact, this is also the home of gong culture, which is recognized by UNESCO as an intangible heritage. Each of the gongs is said to have a connection to the supernatural, and each one has a different power. Look into it, it's really cool. The Southeast region, or Dong Nam Bo, or Mien Tong, the largest city here and largest city in all of Vietnam, almost similar population with Hanoi. Ho Chi Minh City, or Saigon, which is also a municipality. That's this region, and it's the one I went to. This region is made up of 5 other provinces, and let's be real, the majority of this region is centered around Ho Chi Minh City. Yes, it is totally okay to call the city Saigon, its original name. Everyone will accept that name as well. It's even used on street signs and billboards. Basically, Saigon was the capital of French Indochina when much of Southeast Asia was under French colonialism. Therefore, you might see slightly more lingering French influences in this area when you come here. Everything from the old architecture, cathedrals, and even some of the street signs have a French twist to them. Even the famous banh mi sandwich was created by using a baguette, and you can get them for like 80 cents on the streets of Saigon. Ah! In addition, when you think of the Vietnam War, this is where the South Vietnam forces were mostly concentrated and headquartered. They have a distinct Southern Vietnamese accent here, and many of the Vietnamese diaspora, especially in the USA, come from this part of Vietnam. This is basically the most international and diverse region in all of Vietnam. It's a huge, busy, bustling metropolis with expats and tourists from all over the world. So much going on. And if you want to take like a quick day trip out of the city, take the boat ferry to Vung Tau. It's like the coastal town, and you get to pass the busiest shipping port in all of Vietnam, Saigon Port. And finally, it's the birthplace of the unique Cao Dai religion, which is like a syncretic religion that takes elements from Confucianism, Taoism, Buddhism, and even Roman Catholicism. You'll see Cao Dai temples everywhere and people doing their rituals and ceremonies. It's a very unique site. Extra little bonus fact, this place is home to Mindang Quang Buddhist Institute. It is the largest Buddhist institute in all of Saigon. It's a very beautiful place. I actually got to go there with my mom. They got these tall pagodas that you can go up and a huge central area. It's crazy. Check it out. And finally, the Mekong Delta. Sometimes it's called West or South Vietnam. I've heard, but the name I've heard the most is Mien Tai. The largest city here is Can Tho. This region is made up of 13 provinces, and don't forget little Phu Quoc Island off the coast of Cambodia. It's like considered the Hawaii of Vietnam. This is probably one of the most physically unique regions of all Vietnam because the people here have to kind of expect and adapt to a land that seasonally floods and dries up year-round. This is why many of the houses and buildings are on stilts. During flood season, they use boats, and in dry season, they use motorbikes. This is also why you can find a ton of canals that are built in various cities in the region. Cai Rang is famous for their floating market. This is also the main agriculture region where almost half of all the entire country's produce comes from, and where you can find the most and best fruits in Vietnam. They come in all exotic types. You got the durian, the mangosteen, my personal favorite, soursop. Ooh. Culturally speaking, this place has the most Khmer people outside of Cambodia, or Cambodian people. Buddhism plays a stronger role in the culture here. You'll see a lot more Buddhist temples rather than folk religion. Many books and films have been made about this area. They also have a very distinct folk opera music style called Gai Luong. And in addition, they're very famous for their cuisine, which includes a lot of unique swamp ingredients. Delta Delta, crab hot pot, fermented fish soup, honeycomb cake. It's like the Louisiana of Vietnam. Like, it's a very unique swampy place with a lot of cool things going on. One last final bonus fact for this region: Phu Quoc Island is where you can find the largest amusement park in all of Vietnam. Vin Wonders. It's got all these rides and it's really cool. This island is the Hawaii of Vietnam. So there you go, the 8 main regions of Vietnam. From my understanding, talking to many Vietnamese people, they will probably defer you to this regional map if you want to know about how things culturally are divided up in the country. I only got to see one part of the country. I really wish I could have seen more, but I was very limited on my time. But all I know from the limited amount of time that I was there to explore with a limited amount of space, it was a very complex yet beautiful place that I'm really glad I had the opportunity to visit. If I go back, I definitely want to go to the northern part of the country. But until then, I guess I'm just gonna have to teach you guys about Vietnam. So I hope you guys liked this video. Hope you learned something. Go meet a Vietnamese person, you know, and talk to them and ask them which region they're from, and, you know, maybe learn something that I didn't tell you in this video, you know, make friends, get off the internet. Come on, seriously. All right, cheers. Hope you guys have a good one. Until the next time, stay cool, stay tuned.